Here. Why is my phone ringing? Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, bye. Hi everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. So today I brought you a makeup tutorial. I haven't done a makeup tutorial in a minute, so I need to get back on those. I know I'm slacking, guys, I'm sorry. Okay, so I brought you a makeup tutorial on how I personally contour my face, and I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. I really worked hard on it. I'm going to show you how I contour my face every day using my Morphe products. And so if you want to know how I contour my face, then keep on watching. Okay, so first off, we're obviously going to start off with the concealer, and that's the highlighting part. So all I have on right now is foundation. I did my eyebrows and I went ahead and put on my lashes just because I just wanted to be extra. I don't usually do that. I don't actually put on my lashes before I highlight, contour, and all of that. I do that at the very end. But I wanted to be extra, so I put on my falsies. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to highlight, like I said. So we're using our trusty Morphe concealer. I got this one in the shade Nude. But like, you don't want to go too white, but you don't want to keep it too close to your skin color, if that makes any sense. So the trick is to kind of go 2 shades or 3 shades lighter. You don't want to overdo it and look extremely wide from the areas that you want to highlight. Especially when it comes to flash photography, you don't want that to show up, so just keep that in mind. So I'm going to zoom you guys just a little bit, that way you guys can see what's going on. I know I'm going to look even more naked than I already look, but I'm not naked, I'm wearing a top, so let me zoom you guys in. So like everyone else, I also always start under my eyes. I don't actually draw a triangle. I know a lot of people do that, but you guys have to keep in mind that when you're doing that, when it comes to blending, you're going to be blending that out, and that product is going to be moving out. So where you thought it was going to stay is actually going to come even more further down, and you don't want that because you want to keep the concealer in the areas where you just want to highlight. You don't want to over blend it. So I don't overdo it with the concealer. I just put it a little bit. This Morphe concealer is just bomb.com, guys. It's very thick and it covers a lot. The only thing that I'm not excited about is that whenever I go outside, since it's a little bit thicker, I do feel like I'm wearing kind of a mask, but that's okay because who cares? It's makeup. It's not really meant to make you feel free, you know what I mean? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some on the bridge of my nose, as so. I'm going to bring it out just a little bit on my forehead. I like to put it on top of my cupid's bow and a little bit on my chin. I think what I've been doing is I've been putting a little bit under the part where I'm going to contour, just like that, just a little bitty line. And this is how I place it on my face first. And the exciting part is when you blend it. I'm using my little Morphe beauty sponge, and I love this sponge. It comes like just so in handy when it has 2 sides that are flat, and then you got the pointy side. It really helps you get under your eyes. Just grab it just like this, and I blend it just like you would. And I'm doing tapping motions, and I'm trying to keep the concealer in place. I don't want to go all crazy. And then what I do is I flip it to the part where it's kind of flat, and I pat it outwards because I like to see my concealer kind of be moved to the side, like just like that, because especially when I'm wearing eyeshadow, it definitely cuts the eyeshadow, so it makes it look more fierce and more precise. So that's what I do on the sides of my face. Then I flip it back and I blend the rest. This concealer again, guys, is very full coverage, so if you're looking for a very good full coverage concealer and affordable concealer, this one is definitely the way to go. I think it's only like $6, I believe. I'm not sure. I'll put, yeah, it's an affordable concealer and it's a great concealer. So this part where I blend out the concealer on my forehead, I don't want to go out too much because I don't want my forehead to look super white. So just kind of keep it on top of my eyebrows. And then this part where I have the line on the side, just right here, I do flip it out just like that where the flat part is. And I tap it. And I'm not moving it. I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm not moving it at all. I'm just kind of keeping it there and just tapping the product on my skin. Because remember that the contour is going to go right above that, so I don't want to put any concealer on top of that. And I'm going to do the other side. And what I'm about to do right here, it's okay if you bring it all the way out. It's not a big deal. But you don't want to have a very harsh line right there. So I kind of want to diffuse that. So I'm going to tap a little bit of it off. Well, not off. I'm just going to blend it a little. Because where I really want it to be sharp and precise is just like right here where I'm going to have the contour. Okay, I think you guys have a better view just like that. I kind of lifted up the tripod, that way you guys can see my whole face, because I know it was covering kind of like half of my forehead, just like that. So I need you guys to see all of this, especially when the contouring part comes in. So for contouring, again, I'm using a Morphe contour concealer. How would you call it? A concealer, a contour concealer. I don't know how you to call it. Okay, so I'm using the Morphe also. This one I picked up in the color Espresso. Looks like a little lipstick. And guys, by the way, these concealers, correctors, they smell so good. I feel like they smell like chocolate. Just like this one, when I opened it, I was like, I wanted to eat it. You know, I'm such a weirdo. But I grabbed just a little bit because, especially with the correctors, a little bit goes a long way. So I'm going to correct the areas where we want to correct. We're going to contour the areas where we want to correct. Jesus. Really going to do just this. That much. Just that little bitty line. Same on the other side. I like to contour on under my lips just to make my lips look a little bit more full. Just right here. And I've been starting to contour a little bit over my cupid's bow. Got it on my lip. It makes my lips look a little bit more like perky, so that's why I do it. For my forehead, I find my forehead not to be so big, and it's not too small either. But I always like to contour my forehead. So I put a little bit on my forehead. I don't put too much. Sometimes even what I do is I just put it on the side because, like I said, I feel like my cheeks are like a lot bigger than my forehead, so I definitely don't overdo it because I don't want my forehead to look super small and then my cheeks are just like big. And for my nose, I'm obsessed with contouring my nose, by the way. I do a little line just like that, and then I do another line right there and two lines going up. And I've been contouring my nose like this lately, and I love how it comes out. And then sometimes I do a little bit like that. Now that your face looks crazy, you're ready to blend. Sometimes I switch over to a different sponge. In this case, I am just another clean sponge. And I have two techniques on how I go about this. I sometimes use a sponge, and other times I actually use a brush. It's just like all up to your choice, whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm comfortable with both. Sometimes I want to go ahead and do the brush because I feel like with the brush I blend out my contour easier, and sometimes with the sponge it takes me a little bit more just because you can sometimes over blend. The sponge is pretty big, so when you're doing that, especially when it comes to contour, you can be moving the product too much around your face, and that's like a big no-no. But in this case, I'm going to show you guys on how I contour half with the sponge and then half with the brush, just for you guys that can get like a feel of how it looks. or how I do it. So I'll be right back. Let me go get that brush that I always use. The brush that I use, I got this one about like, I want to say this has been like about 3 years ago, and I picked it up at Sephora. I'm going to show you how I use my brush to blend out my contour on this side. So my left side, it might be your right side, and then I'm going to be using my Morphe Beauty Sponge on this side. My right side might be your left side. So I'm going to try to hurry because you have to remember sometimes contours or concealers, they dry up really fast, so it makes it harder for you to blend out. So let's start with the brush first. So with the brush, basically what I do is I brush up the product or move it to the sides, and it's already blending out so fast. And I'm just kind of doing like upward motions and kind of moving the product around, but not too much because I don't want to overblend again, and I don't want to be removing the product, and I want to keep it there. You see how fast I did that? Now we're going to do the forehead, and I like to push up the product to my hairline. And then I'm going to go ahead and blend out the contour that I did on my lips. So I just move it to the side like that. And I do very soft strokes. And I almost forgot, guys. So I've barely been starting to do this because I feel like it does make a difference. So I've been actually contouring the bottom of my jaw to kind of make it look more sharp. And bring this, so I do a line here, and then I just do a line there. Same on this side. And I feel like I find it to make a difference. It really gives me that like chiseled jaw. Oh, I probably put too much there. Ooh. I'm telling you guys, a little bit goes a long way. Sometimes I just brush it a little bit down. My god. And I do circular motions. And once you get the hang of it, you'll know what kind of strokes or what kind of movements you need to do to get the product where you want it. Okay, now we're going to move on to blending with our Morphe Beauty Sponge. So let me move to the side just a little bit. And I'm going to grab the sponge and move it sideways. And I'm going to start with my cheek contour. So I like to kind of grab it and squeeze it a little bit. That way I have more control, because I start off by bouncing it on that contour line. And then I slowly start to push it upwards. And you want to take your time with this, especially with this, especially if you're using a sponge, because you want to keep it as precise as you can. So I bounce it upwards, just like that. And with the sponge, you're going to notice it takes you just a little bit longer to blend, because you have to be more careful with it. I blend out the jaw contour. And I'll drag it just a little bit down. And push it out. We're going to blend out the forehead. And then I just kind of push it to my hairline. Okay, now we're going to do the nose. I'm going to grab the little pointy part, and I'm going to pinch it just a little bit. And I'm going to bounce it. And I like to bring this part of the contour down. And I drag it just a little bit to the side. I'm telling you guys, this sponge definitely comes in handy. I'm not sure how much it is. I definitely forgot how much I paid for it, but I'll link it down below. For the nose contour, the trick is to keep the two lines as close as you can to make your nose look really snatched, because that's what we want to go for. I mean, who doesn't want a snatched nose? Alright, so we have all of the concealer blended out. We have all the contour part blended out. Sometimes when this happens and I finish contouring, sometimes I don't like how it came out, because I lose some of the highlighting. sometimes what I do is I'll go back and add like just a little bit on the bridge of my nose and a little bit under the contour again. I put a little bit on that little areas because that's where I want it to be more like foam, like precise, like sharp. So with this part, I flip the sponge again to the flat side. This might be a little too extra or might be too many steps for you guys, but it's just like up to you. It's just however you're comfortable with it. Maybe you get it right in the first try and you contour everything just precisely in the first try, but personally sometimes I don't like how the contour came out, or I go back and kind of clean it up with the concealer. So everyone has their own technique. I'm just showing you mine. Now for the baking part, my favorite part, whoever invented baking, like, you're just amazing, because if you don't bake, what are you doing? Okay, so what I've been using to bake lately, just because I haven't bought anything new yet, and the other ones that I have are almost running out. And this one has always been my holy grail, so if I ever run out of whatever translucent powder I'm using, I'm always going to go back to this one. Plus it's extra affordable and it's cheap. Who doesn't want to use a cheap product that is good? You know what I mean? Like affordable, good product. So I'm using my Airspun loose face powder. I'm pretty sure every one of you girls has one of these, or tried one of these, or seen someone try one of these. So this one I'm going to bake with. I always put some on the lid, and then I'm going to grab my sponge. It doesn't matter if you get too much because you're going to brush it all off. Place it on the areas where I highlighted, and I'm going to cut it just right there. Do you see that? And I love that effect. I love how it does that. And I like to turn it around just to get the sides of my nose. Okay, and so when it comes to my forehead, I used to like overdo it with the baking on my forehead, but I don't anymore. I don't go too crazy. Just like literally pat a little bit on the center of my eyebrows and just a little bit on top of my eyebrows. And you see that I got a bunch of translucent powder on my eyebrows, but that's okay. I'm gonna brush it out later. So grab it like that on the flat side again, and I drag it all the way out. You see? And a little bit on top of my cupid's bow. I'm not that crazy about my cupid's bow. So we're gonna definitely let that sit for a little bit. So I'm gonna leave it on for a little bit, and then I'm gonna come back and brush it off in front of camera. So give me a few minutes. Okay, so I probably let that translucent sit for long enough. I'm gonna go ahead and use my Morphe Y3 brush, and I'm just gonna brush it off. So some people might not like to use any face powders. What they usually do is just kind of set their face with the translucent powder, and that's fine. It's just up to your preference. Like I said, everyone has their own techniques, everyone has their own choices and their options on what they want to do when it comes to their makeup routine. I personally love face powders. I like to set my foundation with a face powder. And right now my go-to has been the Benefit Hello Flawless Face powder, and this one is in the color Champagne. This powder is just amazing. So I'm gonna put a little bit, not everywhere because I already placed some translucent powder on, but I'm gonna put it just a little bit on some areas of my face. I don't really pick any specific areas. I just try not to put any under here because I definitely like to have that highlight under my eye. Okay, now for contouring, I definitely love to go with my Hoola bronzer by Benefit. So this has definitely been my holy grail for as long as I can remember. If you want to buy a bronzer, you don't know which one to pick up, this one is definitely a go-to for me. Just kind of contour my cheekbones, and I don't overdo it anymore with this because since we already cream contour before, you don't need so much. We don't add too much because you don't want to look too like, oh my god, like she freaking contoured the crap out of her face, but not in a good way. You know what I mean? Like you just want to look contoured, sharp and nice, but you don't want to look like muddy and just overdone. So I like to do circular motions, bring it out to my hairline. A little bit underneath my jawline, just kind of accentuate my jaw. Push it out. Again, I put a little bit. I like to pick up this little small brush. I got this, and I think I mentioned this brush in a couple of my other videos, or in one of my videos. I use this brush to contour every single time I have to contour my nose. So this is a MAC brush. I've had it for so long that I don't even know what number it is, but it's just an angle little brush. I do like a little triangle underneath my nose, bring it downwards a little bit. And the trick to this is just to get a little bit of product, because you don't want to start off with too much product and then you're gonna have a hard time removing that. I'm just darkening up that contour just a little bit. Also, I just want to put a little bit of blush. I'm using my Anastasia Beverly Hills Blush Trio, and I have Nectarine, Ginger, and Miami. Today I think I'm going to stick with Nectarine, so it would be this one right here. I'm going to get my little Morphe Y5 brush. Really put a little bit. Just a little bit like that on the bottom of my nose. I just like the effect, especially for the summer. I just look very rosy, very like, you know, like just like cute. I don't know. So I'm almost done, I promise. I know I'm probably making it too long for you guys. So I have so many powders on. I always, obviously, and you should, if you don't, I mean, I'm not sure what you're doing by now. I like to set everything, and with my Glam Glow Setter. So I love to do this right before I'm gonna apply my highlight, just to get that extra, you know, extra blinding highlight. What I do is I'm gonna use a Morphe Y13 brush, my little fan brush, and today for highlighter I'm gonna be using the Benefit Dandelion Twinkle highlighter. And this one is really cute. And because it is the summer, I don't go too crazy with this, because girl, with this heat, you're just gonna get a natural highlight regardless, because this heat in Texas is not playing. I like to grab it with my finger, and I put like a dot here right on top, and then I do a line here, and then I kind of like just blend it with the fan brush like that. So I'm gonna put on a lipstick, and then I'm gonna come back to finish our outro, because I look like I have no lips on. Just put on my favorite lipstick, and I'm currently obsessed with Honey in the Anastasia Beverly Hills new lipstick collection, so that's what I'm wearing on my lips. Oh, I don't know, my face looks so dewy. By the way, I'm actually wearing, I didn't even tell you guys what foundation I'm wearing. I'm actually wearing Wet n Wild, the foundation Wet n Wild. I don't have it here close to me, so I don't want to bring it out because it's all the way over there. But I'm gonna put it right here so you guys will know which one I'm wearing, but that's the foundation I'm wearing and I like it. This is how I contour and highlight, and just basically my everyday highlight and contour routine. So I hope I made it easy enough for you guys to follow. Don't leave without giving me a like and a comment down below, and if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to our channel. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you back in another tutorial. Bye.